In today's tutorial, let's do a corner to corner, and this is everything that you need to know to make pictures when it comes to C2C or corner to corner afghans. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to work on the corner to corner concept of making pictures inside your corner to corner. This picture is a teddy bear and was done by repeat crafter me, Sarah, and Sarah has agreed to let me use her pattern in order for a launching pad in order to teach you. So today's tutorial is all about how to do this concept right from start to finish, everything that you need to know, and let's get started and let's start reviewing. So in today's tutorial we're going to do a quick introduction, and then we're going to learn how to read the corner to corner graphs. Then we're going to learn how to make the graphs. We're going to learn about bobbins, and we're going to learn about changing colors, and then we're just going to do a small little sample with you to make sure that you understand the concept. So let's move on first to a quick introduction and let's begin. So to begin with, the corner to corner concept is exceptionally popular, and now that GraphGANs and ideas are coming out, these are also exceptionally popular as well. So everything works in like a grid. So for example, you see one box here. This is represented by one box here on the pattern. So what we have here is that you can see that repeat crafter me, Sarah, has been working on it, and you can see that she's gone up in a diagonal in order to make this happen. So unlike regular tradition GraphGANs where you work back and forth like this, because you are going corner to corner, that's why it's called corner to corner, you work from one corner to the other. Therefore your blocks have to be worked up on a diagonal, and that's why you see that it's diagonal here. So let's begin to learn how to read corner to corner graphs, and we're going to be starting off by counting boxes and instructions by words. That's coming up next. So let's begin to read crochet diagrams. There are two ways to do it. There's either a whole graph that is given to you. So this is a finished example of this elf, and there was a graph that was provided for it, and then you just have to count the boxes in order to fill in the spaces. So you got to remember that you're going from diagonal to diagonal. So you're going to go up on an angle just like this, like I just showed you. There's also another one called words, and where the words are telling you what to do. And so what we're going to do first is that we're going to look at a GraphGAN first, an actual chart, and then what we're going to do is then look at the words, and let's try to put those two together so that you understand. In the more information of this video, I'm going to provide you the links that I'm referring to within today's tutorial. So you don't need to write anything down. You just have to follow along and then just go to that link if you would like to access more information. So here is a close-up version of a graph, and it's showing a mermaid, but I can't show you the whole thing because it's not a free pattern. But this is by one of our friends, and I'm allowed to use it as an example today. So you're going to see that most of them will have, if they do it, they have a 1 here and a 1 here. And so you're thinking to yourself, okay, that's kind of odd. Why is the 1 not here and here? Well, you got to remember that corner to corner is a graph that is worked in a corner. So it's not going straight up. Okay, so it's not going straight up, it's not going straight across, it's going diagonal to each other. So what you have to do is that you have to kind of look at it from a point of view is that this one, if you were to draw a line, the line crosses over this box like this. So this would be number 1, just like that. So what is the difference if the ones are on the other side? There are no differences, and if there is no ones are provided, then you just have to do it yourself. You have to just kind of follow along. So what I like to do is that I like to put arrows when I go to do that. So for example, if I was going to start and I would say, okay, I moved in this direction, I will put an arrow in the box that I moved in this direction. When I'm ready for the next box, which is the next row, what I just do is that you just follow up and you go the other way up just like this, and what I'll do is I will put an arrow stating that I went that way. And the way why I'm doing that is that if this picture, for example, is a letter, you don't want to get confused on which direction that you're going, just in case you ever put down this project and you don't remember where exactly you are. This gives you a good indication of where you are. So when you go to do the next one, so number 3, so row number 3, again it's diagonal to each other, and it comes down and matches the number 3. So essentially what you're doing here is that you're working yourself across in a diagonal format. So in this one here, I stated I was going this way, and the 2 was going down, and this one was going up. It doesn't matter on where you start. Okay, so you can either go down or up in this format as long as that you're consistent. So it makes it quite easy to be able to follow. So when you're doing this and there's no words provided to you, you just have to count the number of boxes. So for example, let's say we're doing row number 4. So you would say, okay, we came back this way, so we're going to go this way up to number 4. And so you're gonna just count. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's 4 boxes here on row number 4, 3 boxes here, and then you just continue to go. So number 5, you just draw a line down if you want to. If you don't want to draw any lines, it doesn't matter. And I will say that I went that way. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you continue to go up. So you're just gonna work your way until you start hitting the special boxes, just like you see here. And this is when the game plan changes. Let me share a little bit about that with you. So a second ago I just left you here and I went and finished that. I have these lines, and now what's gonna happen now in row number 8 is when the game plan changes. It's when we start changing colors. So for example, this time when we go up to number 8, only one box will be this color, the next box will be this color, and then the next box will be the red here, and then it will continue to go all the way up as we go. So this is when the game plan changes, is that when you need to start really counting your boxes. So what you can just do then is that you say one box is this color, this box is this color, and continue. And so if we come back on row number 9, you're gonna come back down, and then all of a sudden you will see that you have this color now, this color, that is gonna be 2 boxes in a row, and then one of this. So if you just carry it along just like this, so you can see that you ended up with 2 colors here crossing over. So I'm gonna say I went that way, and so, and what I mean by crossing over is that you mean that you have 2 of the same color and then it's back blue again. So when we go back up then for row number 10 is that you draw an arrow back up. And again, that's completely optional. And when you came back up, you had 2 blues, so 1 and 2. You had 1 white, which is a new color. You had 1 pink, 1 red, and then the rest of it was blue, just like this. And you might want to put arrows anywhere else in the pattern in order for it to make sense to you. So this gives you a really good indication on how many times you need to change colors. So when you're doing these kind of graph GANs, you don't want to do anything too complex where the pattern appears really complex. So as soon as you get a lot of detail, it's gonna be a lot more strands to change and a lot more things that you need to do. So there's other ways of doing this, and it's called words, and let me show you a little bit about that, because that is the way to go if you're ever gonna do one of these. Okay, so let's take a look, and this is called words, and this format here is a lot better than counting it yourself, I have to say. So if you're ever gonna have an option to follow something, go this method than doing this method. This is a lot easier to follow. So what I did here is that when I went down, I actually am in the wrong direction if I was to follow the words. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's the nice thing about this. So the words are gonna give you what is up and what is down. So some people provide up or down, some people don't provide that information, and we will cover that. So let's have, for example, we say row number 1 here, it was 1 block, which was B1. Okay, so it's telling you how many blocks the entire row was. So you can see that 1 here was just 1 block, so it says 1 block, and B is the color and 1 is the number of blocks. So there's only 1 block. So that's why it's being very detailed like that. Okay, so it says that this was going in the up motion. So let's just say it was going in the up motion, and then in row number 2 we're now gonna go in the down motion, and it says that it's 2 blocks, which it is, and then there will be B2. So color is B, and that there's 2 blocks using color B, and that's going down. So row number 3 is going up. Okay, so it's going up. So they always have to go up or down. Okay, they can never go down, down, or up, up. They have to be alternating each other. So row number 3. So it says we're going in the up motion, and there's 3 blocks, and it's B3. So you can see that it's the same. So B is the color, so there's 3 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, and etc. So what happens when you get to row number 8? That's when the game plan changes slightly. So row number 8, it says that we are gonna go in the down formation. Okay, so what's gonna happen here is that we go down, and that there's 8 blocks wide all the way, and that's gonna be saying B5. Okay, so you got B5. So coming down in the down direction from number 8 is that you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And look at that, the next one is another color. So then it says P1, which is a color, is only for 1 block, just like this. Okay, just like that, sorry, right there. And then the next one is K1, which is another color, which is for 1 block, and then it finishes off with B1, which is the final here showing right there. Okay, so it's just telling you the amount of blocks that you need to do. So as it gets more and more complicated, more of these rows get filled out. So in row number 10 you got 5 blocks that are B, then 1 block P, 1 block K, 1 block white, and then 2 blocks are B. And when you look at that, that was row number 10. So when you look at it here, here's number 10 right here. So you can see all of this work, and we were going in the down motion, so we came down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which was right, B5, and then you had 1 color of this, 1 of this, 1 of white, and then 2 just like this. So it's a really kind of an easy concept. Other people do it the same way. Let's take a look at Repeat Crafter Me and see what we have for hers. So Sarah at Repeat Crafter Me has hers starting. So it doesn't say up or down for her, and it really doesn't matter if it's up or down. You just have to make sure you're always staying in balance with being able to do this. So row number 1, of course, we're starting off the corner. There's only going to be 1 block, so it says 1 white. Okay, very easy. The next row then there's going to be 2 white. The next row there's going to be 3 white. And then we can tell in number 4 that there's going to be a white, 2 brown blocks, and 1 white block. Row number 5, there'll be 1 white block, 3 brown blocks, and then 1 white. And you just continue to do that, and you work your way down. This is a lot easier to follow than it is for you to go and look at these charts. So let me show you a chart Daniel did, or a graph Daniel did here. So what you can just do is, if we started here, this would be 1 block like that color, and then it'll be 2 blocks that color, and then it'll be 3 blocks, and then 4 blocks, and then eventually you'll hit these other colors where it'll be 1 block of this color, 3 blocks of the gray, 1 block of that color, and another block just like this. The next time you pass, you have 1 block of this, so you'll have a block of white, all this gray, and then again back to blue. So it's just easier to look at it from this point of view and check it off than it is to actually go through this, but that's again your own personal choice. So there are services that can actually make graphs for free for you, and I provide that information, and let me show you something that I did just to kind of give you an indication on how to do that as well. So here's an example of Emicon that I had, and the Emicon was a free thing that I could use. So you got to make sure that anything that you're going to use for a service has to not have a trademark or a license thing to it. It has to be either free or something that you design yourself. So here's the original here, and I converted it using a pattern in Stitch Fiddle, and Stitch Fiddle then created the graph for me in order to work, and I'll talk a little bit about that and how to make your own graphs. But this is a really kind of a neat concept. So the more complicated you get within a pattern, the more yarns that you need to change in order to get it. So remember, it's like pixelated format. The further away from the item, the more accurate it looks. So when you're working at this up close, sometimes it doesn't look as good as if when you're standing back from your work and seeing it like sitting on a sofa, and etc. So that would be how you would read your graphs, whether you're going to go right from a graph format or whether you're going to go and use the words just like so. That's a choice that you can make. And now let's begin, and we're going to learn how to make your own graphs. So let's moving on, and let's learn how to make your own graphs. You can do it conventionally with graph paper. You could do it online. There are services that will do it for you. The services that will do it for you, most of them will provide it in a Word format, and I will provide that information in a link in the more information of this video. So what I've done here is that I've taken the letter M here, and I had 4 colors to it, and what I did is put it through a program called stitchfiddle.com. It's a free pattern, and what you have to just do is that you just take this picture and then you upload it to this service, and then this service actually creates the look. This is called the embroidery version, so you need to do it as embroidery and not the crochet chart version. So this is going to create the boxes for you in order to do it. So how did I know how many boxes to do as I went along? Well, that information I kind of figured out on my own. So I figured out the difference of sizes of boxes that I had. So for example, when I'm going to do this in a size H or 5mm crochet hook, 7 blocks equals about 6 inches. So for a baby 30-inch wide, you need about 35 blocks wide. For a child size, about 42 inches wide is about 49 blocks, and then for a queen size or throw is 60 inches wide, and that's 70 blocks, just like this. So when I go to look at this one here, is that I figured out that if I'm using a size H crochet hook and just standard everyday yarn like Bernat Super Value, that every 7th block is about 6 inches. So for example, this here will be about a 1 foot square if I was to go to do this. So I have to tell it how many columns columns and rows that I want within the program in order for me to have a graph. So if I want to say there's 100 blocks, then it will just get more and more detailed with this, and there will be more and more blocks for you to be able to fill in. So it depends how complicated you really want to do. So I already showed you the Amicon that I did. Let me pull that right back up. And this is the Amicon. So I took the Amicon, did the same thing, and I figured out I was going to make it into a child size, a baby blanket. So here's the Amicon, and instead of doing what I did before with just the smaller sample of 1 to 15 blocks, I made this from 1 to 35. So this, it will be about a 30-inch wide baby Afghan if I wanted to do that. So basically it just gets more and more detailed for you, and you can actually see, if you looked at it on the screen, you can see that there's a color shade difference right here as well as right here. And so if you really can't see it when you print out, you just may want to draw some lines on where it is on here so that you can see it if you don't, and then all you just got to do is just do your boxes. Now here you're going to notice that the numbers do not match each other, so you can't use that format. It does not provide a Word format for you. There's other services that provide that for you, and that's something that you have to consider. So it depends on how much workload that you want to do. So let's say that you want to do something a little more conventional. You don't have access to the computer in order to do this, but you can also use just a diagram. So you can get an empty graph paper just like this, and then you can just create your own shape. This has no meaning to me at all. I just filled in the shapes just because that's what I did. So what I have here is that you can see here, so some people actually put the numbers out here, but again you're gonna follow it diagonally just like this. Okay, so you're just gonna keep going and going, and where it starts to change, that's when right here is that you're going to introduce your colors. So you can do it conventionally like this as well, and then use that. So what I like to do for myself is that if I do this, I don't like to write on my originals, so I like to do it, photocopy it, and then use the photocopy, and then I can scribble notes. In the event that I ever lose something or I change my mind about something, I don't wreck up a good copy of something that I'm going to work on. So you can do it that way too, and it's just a matter of what you have. So whether you want to use a program to take something that you have and make it into there, or whether you want to use a paid service to take what you have and have them do it, it's about $5 to $10, maybe it could be up to 20, and they will provide a graph for you, plus they will put it into words for you, which is a lot easier. Or if you just want to use Stitch Fiddle and just make it a lot easier for yourself in order to have a graph that's completely done, that's again your choice. So that's how you would make your graphs. So let's review on how to do bobbins. So Sarah at Repeat Crafter Me did a whole whack of Amicons that are famous online, and you can see the further away that you get from these, the more cooler they look. It's when you're really up close. Let me take it close to the camera. It looks more and more pixelated, but the further it looks, a lot better that it is. So we have to concentrate on bobbins, and bobbins are the colors that separate each other. So for example, let's say let's pull out a different example here, and let me show you how to do a bobbin and why that makes a lot of sense. So bobbins are colors that are being used. So for example, we have the green here, and all of a sudden you see the strand of green is coming off, and then we're switching over to brown over here. So what we have to do is that we have to kind of look for things on where colors are coming in and out. So for example, say we have brown over here, you can't use the same brown over here because you have to pass all this white. So for example, right here there will be a different yarn strand leading to a different ball, and therefore this one here will be a different strand leading to another yarn ball. The green that you see up here will be a different strand than what you have here. So you have to plan ahead on how things are working out. Or you have to use a separate yarn strand. In her case, you see that there's two yarn strands right here. So this side, once this black came into play and you're going up on an angle, she was using a different strand of white here versus this one over here. So you have to look at a pattern and determine how many bobbins that you need. Sometimes you just got to think ahead, and if you're like me and you have extra yarn, it's easier to completely play with a ball of yarn versus making a smaller ball like this. So you have to consider that when you are going into working these kind of ideas on how to look at bobbins. So let's look at another example, and let's determine how many bobbins that we're going to need. So here's my Amicon coming back. So let's just say we start off in the corner here. So you're going to have a black, working black, 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 black. And to about here, this is the last time that you'll see the block the black here going all the way across. So what's gonna happen from here up, you need to finish off these 3 here, just like that. But you have 3 that are left on the other side right here. So the issue is that the one bobbin here will either finish this or it'll finish that. It will not do both. So what you're gonna need is that by the time you get here, there will be a different bobbin up here to finish off this black for a time frame. So if you continue along, then you're gonna have the yellow. The yellow we know how to carry. I'm gonna show you how to do that. So you're gonna do that. So eventually the yellow is gonna run back into the black again at some point right there. So what's gonna happen is that we're going to then carry the black up, and the nice thing about it, this is one big section, so we can learn how to carry our yarn in order to do this all within one bobbin. But then the yellow separates, so the yellow is gonna take a different direction up here, and it's also gonna go in this direction over here. Okay, so you see here is that this yellow on this side cannot be the same strand that you're using on this side, and until you get back up, what's gonna happen is that the yellow doesn't really come back into play all the way across until about here. So what you're gonna notice here is that if you look at it from this point of view, is that the yellow will come up, but look, there will be a black that separates this here. So there's gonna be another bobbin from here going up right there. So what's gonna happen is that at this time you're gonna start off and there'll be 2 bobbins that'll be yellow, okay, on both sides of this smiley face, okay, or if it's a scared face, and then eventually this black is gonna run into here, and in order to finish this yellow you'll have another one. So you'll have 1, 2, and 3 bobbins working at the same time before you can start going across then with all yellow again. So you just have to look for the amount of bobbins and just play with it, and what you have to really do is just really look at your pattern and see where the colors are going to divide. So let's look at another example just really quickly, and let's determine that one. So here's another pattern that Daniel did here, and so what we have here is we're gonna start off in the corner, and you can see that we're gonna use the gray up until this point here. So what's gonna happen here is that the gray is going to continue up in this direction, so therefore, and it's also gonna continue in this direction right here, the base, just like that. So what's gonna happen here is that you'll need 2 bobbins, because this orange is gonna get in your way, is that the gray cannot be on both sides because you're working diagonally. So the orange is then going to pick up, and I can show you how to carry this color so it's not a new strand each and every time. And then eventually as we get to the white, let's take a look at the white here. Let's just roughly go up in an angle. I might not get it right, just so you know, like that. So what's gonna happen is that you'll have the gray, you'll have white, you'll have orange, and then you'll have gray again. So therefore you'll have 4 bobbins by the time you get here. And then as you get into the black area here, is that you'll have a gray, black, 2 whites, all this orange, and then back to the gray up on the top. So it's just a matter of looking at your bobbins and thinking, seeing how things are gonna work. And sometimes you can carry colors and other kinds you can't. It's all depending on your level of expertise, and sometimes it's just impossible because it just doesn't look good too. So it's good to work on individual bobbins, and hopefully, I know that was long-winded, but hopefully that makes sense to you. So let's move along and let's learn how to change colors. So let's begin the changing colors chapter. So what we're gonna learn in this one here is that we're gonna learn 4 things. We're gonna learn how to start a color, we're gonna learn how to backtrack on a color, we're gonna learn how to carry forward on a color, and we're also gonna learn how to end a color. So what I'm doing here is that I'm coming across here, and in the end of this tutorial I'm gonna show you how to start corner to corner right from scratch. But what we have here is that we're gonna change color in the next block. So if you look at it from a block point of view, the next one here, I'm gonna make it into this color here. So as you're going to finish a block, what you have to do is that you have to slip stitch, but instead of using the same color, what you want to do is drop it to the back side. Say, okay, so don't drop it forward, drop it to the back, and then grab your next color. And what I recommend is that you do not create a slip knot, because you'll see it, and just create a loop and put that loop onto the hook and drag it through and through as a slip stitch, and just pull things snug. Okay, so even the blue, just pull it more snug, and let the straggler that is not leading to the yarn ball, okay, this one, let it fall down. So what I want you to do before you carry on is that you need to start the blocks as normal. So you need to chain up 3, so 1, 2, and 3, but watch this straggler here, trap it into the same yarn strand area. Okay, so you have to put in 3 double crochets, so going in, going underneath that first one, but also put that straggler there and just let it sit there and get stuck underneath the stitch work. Okay, so just underneath and get both of them. This is a way of securing that loose tail into position without a whole lot of sewing, just like that. Okay, so if this color is going up even more, what you can just do is that you can continue to hide that even one more time, even if you're maybe a little bit paranoid that it's gonna fall out. I'm like that. So I would then move up to the next block, so you slip stitch, leave this straggler down on top of it and pull through and through, and therefore it kind of runs up the other side in the back. Okay, and then just chain up 3. So 1, 2 and 3 and carry on. So the problem at this point, if there is a problem, which there is that we have to switch back to blue. And this is where the bobbins come into play, is that the blue that I left is over here. So you can't just pick up that blue and just finish it. So this is where you need a separate bobbin in order for it to be finishing off. So we have to grab another yarn. This will be from a different bobbin, and we slip stitch it, just create that loop, pull through and through like that, and then chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3, and again leaving that blue down on top so that you can get it stuck underneath that first set of stitches and put in your 3 double crochets. So I'm a kind of person that I like to finish off my work as I go. So this one here, I can just safely cut that now. This one that I did, because I buried it here and in here, so I can just use my scissors at that point and just being able to cut that now and get that out of the way, just like that. And now I'm ready to turn my work. So let's just turn my work, and now when you turn your work, what's gonna happen here is that all the colors that you dropped will now be in the front. So let's begin again, and let's carry this color one more time, and let me show you what to do. So we're gonna start up the next one. So we're gonna get continually bigger as we increase. So 1, 2, 3, okay, and then pinch, and then 1, 2, 3, and right where you pinched is the first one. I'm going to show you how to start and do corner to corner at the end of this tutorial today. We also have other tutorials on how to do this concept as well. So working yourself down the chain, and then once you get that done, slip stitch it to the top like there. So now that box is now on top. So let's just say, for example, that you had to use this color in this next one. So what you have to do, instead of slip stitching with the blue like I just showed you, what you have to do is that you have to slip stitch with that color that you wanted. So you have to insert in, okay, and instead of slip stitching with this blue, you have to slip stitch with the color that you want to change to, so it's ready for you, just like that. So now you begin again. So let's just drop the blue. It's now stays in behind, so that bobbin's now done, and now you chain up 3 and move down. Now because you drag that color up on the back side, do you see that there? Is that you want to go over top of that when you're going into that set of stitches. So you're burying things underneath each other so that you don't see all these strands being carried around. Okay, so then you just slip stitch to the next one. So if you turn it around, it should be fully reversible, that the other side does not look like it has any strands that are out of position. So you carry on. So what's gonna happen here is that I need to carry the blue forward because I want to use the blue next, but the problem is that the blue is now over here. And so let me just show you how to we're gonna start backtracking where we need to get this closer over here, but I don't want to start another bobbin. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, so for example, say we need to get this blue back over to where I am. So what I have to do is that I have to insert in, okay, and instead of using this pink one here, I'm gonna let it fall out. And I'm gonna grab the blue and pull that over. But I want to pull it over in a way that it looks like it's part of it, but without compressing things. You don't want things to be deformed in any way. So you're going to use that blue then to begin the next block. So 1, 2, and 3. And here's the thing, when you dragged over, you see that the blue is dragged over with you. You want to make sure that's right up underneath the stitches. So going in, trapping that blue and those set of stitches into the same section. Therefore you don't have to start a new yarn strand, you're just carrying this yarn. So you're backtracking in order to get it to where you need to go. So you'll see that there's a strand going over. That's gonna be normal, so don't worry about that. And when you come back around, because that's the last one, you can pull things a little tighter before you carry on. So let's, for example, I want to switch to another color. So let's just say I want to use blue. Okay, so create that loop, and we're going to let this blue fall in behind. So always let it fall behind when you're done with the color. Therefore it's out of your way and it's ready for the next, and I'm gonna use the blue. So this is a new color that we're started, so this is another bobbin, and we're going to chain up 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And what I want you to do, again, this straggler, keep it down on top of the line, get it stuck underneath those stitches so that you got those loose ends out of the way. And now we have just run into a problem. So this is all kind of part of your learning experience. So right where I dropped the blue over here was the same blue I was working over here, but the problem is that I don't have a blue again for this area. So this shows me that I would need a separate bobbin over here. So this is a great concept where you really got to think about your work ahead of time and how the patterns work on how many bobbins that you're going to need. So I can see that I'm using a bobbin here. I've got now my yarn just finished over here, and now I need another bobbin here. So it's just a matter of understanding the pattern in order for things to work. So let's just finish up this line as I normally was doing with the blue, and I'm gonna show you how to be able to carry forward if the yarn needs to be further ahead of you than where you are, and I'll show you how to do that next. So I'm about to start another row. So this, again, this is just exercise. So 1, 2, and 3, pinch, and 1, and do that again. So 1, 2, and 3, and right where I'm pinching is the first one of the double crochets, and then down the chain. Just like that. So let's just say for argument's sake that I needed this pink color to be right over here, but it's so far back, but in this pattern it makes sense. So maybe it could be like a tail of something where the next time that this whole row is the same color. So you could either do two things. You can either start a new bobbin and do that, but I wouldn't bother. So what you want to do is that you want to slip stitch, and what you want to do is just take this strand and kind of just eye it up with a bit of tension, and just kind of seeing the flow that it's going to take by the time you get up there. So I'm just kind of measuring it out a little bit so that I can safely tuck that into position. And once I do that, I have it, and I'm going to use that as the slip stitch, like so. So therefore it's kind of running up on a diagonal here in the front. So I'm going to let that blue fall in behind now, and I'm going to use this pink color. So what I have to do is that I have to start this block. So 1, 2, and 3, and coming in and burying it underneath that first one. So make sure that you get right up underneath it so that it buries into position. Just like that. And now you have to move up. So what you want to do is that you want to come in and you want to get it so that this strand here is going to get stuck in behind. So just when you slip stitch it, slip it so that this one will go up over like it's part of it, just like that. Okay, and then you start the next block. So 1, 2, and 3, and again burying that into position underneath. Okay, and then you got another one again. So you're gonna slip stitch, make sure you get that underneath there so that you can trap it, and then 1, 2, and 3, and continue. And now you're right where you were before, and you've just carried your yarn without having to start another yarn strand, and then you just carry on as normal. So let's try again. So with this blue, say for example we want to start the blue right where I am, so let's just do that again. So we're gonna do the blue. I wouldn't say that this is a lazy way of doing it. You can just come up on an angle like so, and this is just a smart way of doing it. You don't want tails all over your work. And so you're just going to pull through. Okay, that's a little bit too loose. There's no tension there, so I want to pull it a little bit tighter. But if it's too tight, it'll buckle your work. So now you just chain up 3. Okay, that red has now fallen in behind, and then it's going to be 3 double crochets as normal right up over top of that blue. See, it's all about bearing those tails. So then you're going to slip stitch, make sure you get that blue right on top of it as you slip stitch, therefore to drag it to where it needs to go, and then chain up 3. Okay, and then just the last one here. So that was how to move your colors when you have to kind of like carry them forward or backward, whatever you need to do, without having to change all of that yarn strands. So you can see that you kind of went all that way, and there's no evidence of you doing that on the other side, so it makes it completely reversible. So let's review on how to end a color. So let's just say, for example, that this is done. So what we're going to do is just trim it enough that I have enough yarn to work with in order to do a darning hook, needle here. So what I want to do is just feed that into the darning needle, and what I wanted to do is glide it into the stitches 3 times. So just gliding it underneath, try not to impede the work by any way by making it malform. Okay, and this was the last time I used this color, so I want to make sure I kind of pull things a little tight. Okay, and then I want to go back in the other direction, so this will be number 2, and then go back a 3rd time. That's why you don't want too many loose ends within your work, is that you have to do this every time you're finishing a color. It's the only way to get that so that it's picture perfect each and every time, and then now you can snip it and that'll never fall out of your work. So now what we have here is that this color is completely done, so you can just continue to operate now the blue, and you will not have any loose ends of this hanging out. So these are how you change colors. This is the very first one that we had started with. We can safely trim that. We did bury that as we did go, and what we can just do now is that just celebrate our accomplishments really in being able to do this. So this is how you change color from being able to start. You learned how to go backward as far as like carrying the yarns in either direction, and you learned how to go forward, and you also learned how to do the ending of a color. So let's review on how to do a small sample, and I'm only just going to show you how to get started on these because you will probably not need an M. You'll probably do anything that you would like to do. And remember, there are free patterns available online. There's also paid patterns for Graphghan work. This is all the same concept, and it's just a matter of a lot of fun. So I took this, I put it through Stitch Fiddle, and I got myself a graph just like you see. So Stitch Fiddle is a free service. It does not provide the Word format, so I have to literally count my boxes as I go. So what I've decided is that the outside here, I'm going to just make a light blue, and then I'm going to be darker blue, and etc. So let me show you how to get started with corner to corner if you've never done it before. It's really quite easy. Remember, each box is a box within the project itself. So I got one box, and I'm going to work myself in this corner going into this blue here. So what I have to pay attention to before I get started is that I notice here that the white is going to be breaking off. This blue is going to get in the way, so I'm going to need 2 background colors here for the blue in order to make all of this work, in order to do this kind of idea. So we just got to really be conscientious of that, and it just is really quite easy. So this one here, according to my instructions, is that it's 15 boxes wide by 15 boxes tall. It's a square, and again, yours can be any size depending on your Afghan that you're working on. So let's begin, and let's start on this project. So let's begin our corner to corner. They all start the same, it's just a matter of doing it. So let's begin. We're going to create a slip knot, and this will be the very corner of your Afghan. So it's corner to corner for a reason. It starts off in the corner. So remember, the one on the hook never counts as one, and we want to chain a total of 6. But watch what I do. So we're going to chain up 3 first. So 1, 2, 3. And I said that we're going to chain 6. So what I want you to do is move your thumb up and pinch that 3rd one and go 4, 5, and 6. Right where I'm pinching, right here, right where I'm wiggling, that is going to be your first stitch. You're going to yarn over and you're going to double crochet into that chain for your very first one and work down the remainder of that chain for more double crochets, and there will be a total of 3 of them, just like this. So with that chaining of 3 that you had at the end of it when you did it right over here, that counts as one of them. So this is one box which equals 4 double crochets. Don't forget that. So this here is the very point of your afghan, okay, right where that strand is, so never forget that. So let's go and look at the instructions and let's see what we're gonna do for row number 2. So using Emma's example, I'm gonna say that I went up and I did this. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna say I'm gonna go down like this, and I'm gonna put an arrow down, and it'll be the same color for 2 blocks in a row. So here on the project, let's begin to try that. So right where I left you, I want you to turn your work. Okay, so look where things are right now. Okay, match what you see on the screen. I'll hold for a second, just like you see. See this is coming down, this is here, and this is over here. So we're going to begin another box. So we're going to get bigger. So every time we're doing an increase, okay, we're always going to start off the same way. You're going to chain a 6, but watch what I do. I'm going to chain 3 first. 1, 2, and 3. Pinch, okay, and then 4, 5, and 6. Right where I'm pinching is the first one. So you're going to yarn over, and right where I'm pinching is going to be the first double crochet, and keep moving down that chain for another 2 more times so that you have 3 double crochets completely done. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. So what you want to do with this facing down, make sure that it's facing down. Okay, you're going to go into the space here. This is the chain 3 that you had started with in the very beginning, and you're gonna go right into the space, right in, and you're gonna yarn over and pull through and through. That's a slip stitch. And now, did you see what happened when we did that? Okay, so it was like this, and you're going into that space and slip stitching, and it pulls that box up. So this box appears to be lying this way, and this box appears to be going straight up. So we have to do another box. So we chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and right into that same space you want to put in 3 more double crochets, just like that. So on my instructions, the next set of boxes, there's going to be 3 of them this time, and they are going to be the same color. So let's just turn our work and show you. So we turn our work, okay, this is what we're looking at. This is again facing down, and we're going to chain 6, but watch. 1, 2, 3, pinch, 1, 2, 3. Right where I'm pinching is the first one of the double crochet. This saves you counting a lot of stuff if you can pinch it as you do it, and remember that where you're pinching it is the starting, and you work yourself down that chain. Okay, keeping this straight down. Okay, and look for this space right here. It's, do you see it? It's right there. Slip stitch in, and then chain 3. 1, 2, and 3, and then going in. Okay, that was 3 double crochet. Slip stitch to the next one, and then chain 3, and then into that same space for 3 more double crochets. So in my particular example, there's 4 boxes in a row that are the same color before we get into the M. So we turn our work, chain up 6. So 1, 2, 3, pinch, and then 1, 2, 3, and then right where you're pinching is the first one. So you can do rectangular corner to corners. They don't have to always be square, and that happens when one side starts decreasing and the other side continues to get bigger, like I'm showing you. So right here is the first one here, and we're just gonna continue moving down the row. So a lot of people love these afghans because they start off real quick, and by the time you get to the middle you've kind of slowed down, but by the time you get to the halfway point where you're starting to decrease, it then gets quicker and quicker for you, and that's why people love corner to corner, because it feels like a project that starts off fast, slows down a bit, but then once you're at the halfway point it gets faster and faster. So you work yourself all the way through the rows. So it's almost like working on stairs when you're going to work on it. So you can either look at it from this perspective of going back and forth, but I always look at it from a stairway point of view. Either way works, doesn't matter. So this one here is the last time these blues are going to be in a row. We're now gonna hit another color. So let's turn our work and let's begin. And I'm gonna bring back the graph. So here on the graph what I did is I came down and then I went back up, just like you see here, and then I went down like there. So I'm now going to go up, and the first two are going to be the background color, the next one will be the dark blue, and then we're back on the background color. Now the thing about it here is that this color here cannot be the same bobbin here, so these have to be divided at this point. So let's show you how to do that. So we're gonna start up, and we're going to, even though it appears that I'm working down, you just don't look at it from that perspective. It's how it appears when it's laying on a bed, I guess you can say. So the first two blocks are gonna be the same color. So 1, 2, and 3. Pinch 1, 2, 3. I'm still increasing. I'll show you how to do a decrease in this tutorial as well. And then you work down the chain. So just 3 of them. Right back to where you are. And then you're gonna come in, you slip stitch, and do one more block. So 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to carry on, and the next block will be a darker blue. So to do that, it's like I showed you in the color changing area. You want to grab your darker color, you want to loop it, and you want to finish this stitch by slip stitching it with the new blue and let that other blue stay in behind and pull everything nice and snug. Okay, and use this blue then to start the next stitch. So chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then trap this blue into position by keeping it together so that the stitches go right around it, and it's only one box of this color. So what that means then is that when you go to slip stitch the next one here, you can't use the same one because it's a different bobbin. So you have to grab another bobbin that I've already prepared ahead of time because I knew that was gonna happen, and then we put that on and pull that through. Okay, pull everything nice and snug and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then continue. So keeping that straggler down on top so that you can get it underneath the stitches is the best way to do it. Less yarns to be able to weave in it later. Okay, and just put it in behind, and then we can finish off this row. So there's no other colors that go between this point and the edge. So when we go to turn now, what's gonna happen is that when we go to turn, let's begin to do that. So all your stragglers will be down in the front, and because I buried in these ones as I went, I can safely just grab my scissors and cut those out. Okay, so those are out. So the only stragglers I should see are the ones leading to the yarn balls. So let's begin the first one. So now this time when we go to do this one is that we're going to have 2 of the dark blues instead. So we're gonna have 2 light blues, 2 dark blues, and 2 light blues. So let's show you, because you have to carry yarn forward to do that. So we're gonna chain up 3 to begin, so pinch, and then another 3, so there's your 6, and then start your first one right where you pinched. Okay, and coming down, and so there's going to be 2 of the blue, of the light blue here, and then chain 3. It's easy to get these bobbins really tangled with each other. Just be aware that the more detail you have, the more bobbins you have, and it can be a nightmare if it's too much. So right where we want to go is that we want to go in, but we want to drop this blue and now grab the blue that's already sitting there, and we want to pull it through just like there. So as I showed you before is that we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and right where you pulled that blue up, you want to get it stuck underneath the stitches so that you don't see that you carried it at all. So it's all about getting stuff underneath stitches so that you can hide things, and then slip stitch it to this one right there, and then we're gonna do one more block. So this one's just tight coming out of the ball. It's not tangled, just tight. So let's continue again. And the problem that we have here is that this blue, if I go to leave this blue right where it is right now, it's gonna be out of position. So what I want to do is carry that blue up right here, and I want to chain up 3, and watch what I do. Okay, so this blue is down here, but it needs to be up here, and what I want to do is pull it snug, and when I go to do a slip, I have to use this new blue, drop the old blue, which is the dark blue, and pull through. Okay, so that yarn just got carried up and you don't even see that it's there, and then we use that 1, 2, 3, and then carry on. So you have to really kind of look where your yarn strands are. What is the best way to hide in the yarns? The optimal place that you want to do that, and you just have to carry on and just continue to read your patterns in order to be able to follow. So if I go to look at it from this point of view, this is where I started. I got bigger, and then you can see that it's gonna get and start to follow that M shape. So the next time I do it, what's gonna happen is that there will be a blue here, here, and here. There will be 3, and therefore then it will start carrying up. So let's learn how to decrease, and because people always ask that, and because people don't realize that they can actually do a decrease even though it's a rectangle. So I backtracked and I took out the colors because now I'm gonna show you how to do a decrease. So whether there's color there or not, it doesn't matter. The decreasing is always going to be the same. So right now it appears as we go is that it can be either a rectangle or a square. A lot of people think because it's corner to corner it always has to be a square. That's a false reality. So what happens here is that if you notice is that we've been increasing every time we started here with the chaining of 6, we get bigger, so it's going further out, and because we go over on top of this last block we get bigger in this direction. So the only way to decrease, so let me show you how to do a decrease if it was a square. So let's turn our work. So to do a square, what we have to do is that you don't chain 6 to start. You just go along the edge and you slip stitch. So just up until you get into this chain space here. And you keep doing that until you get into that chain space, and therefore this is where you start. So now you'll only chain 3. So instead of chaining a 6, you just slip stitched and then you begin just like this. And you just carry along now to the other side, and all you just have to do is just carry on and don't go all the way across like you had been before, because if you go all the way across like I showed you, you're gonna continue to increase. So if you was to do a rectangle, that's the way you do it, but if you're doing a square, the only way to make it square is to ensure that it stays balanced like that. A lot of people also too is that when they get to this particular step is that they have to realize that because it's corner to corner, you have to always have it as an odd number. So for example, if you're doing stripes, there has to be in the middle, there can only be 3 or 5 or 7 or 1. They can never have like 2, 4, 6 in order for striping, because there's actually technically only one set of boxes that go directly down the middle, not more than that. So if you want it equal, then you have to be either 1, 3, 5, or 7, etc. So right now, if I was to continue like I showed you already before, is that you slip stitch here, and if you want to make it rectangle, you carry up, but if you want to make it square, this is where you stop. Okay? So all you just need to do for rectangles, then you just turn around and then you just slip stitch back along the edge. Okay, until you get to that space again, and then you restart again and you carry on and you stop right here. So what happens if you want to make a rectangle? The only difference is that you do want to carry it up. So one side is decreasing here, and the other side, when we get there, we add another box to this side. So one side we appear to be expanding, and the other side we are decreasing, which is creating the rectangular shape. Okay, so do you see it's more rectangle now? So if I want a rectangle even more, is that I just carry on, so chain 3 and then pinch 1, 2, 3, and then coming in to where you pinched. Right there. So this side has just been expanded, okay, and then you just slip stitch. See, it's gotten even wider, and then we carry on. So when you do this, when rectangles, it doesn't mean that it's gonna get quicker for you, it just means that you're maintaining but just growing up on a rectangle. And you carry along the row like you normally would have. So what you have to do is you have to watch that final edge that you're gonna run into, and I do it all the time when I do rectangles. I accidentally go one extra, but it's obvious after you do it, realizing that you'd gone extra. You can stop yourself in mid-process. It's not like something that you have to wait a few rows for you to see that you made a mistake. So this is technically my last box, so 1, 2, and 3. And then slip stitch it to the space. So I can't go anymore, that's it. So you can see that it's stopping on this side just like this, and it's still continuing to build this side. So once you're satisfied and the height is what you wanted, say it was a bedspread, the width is what you wanted, and now the height is what you wanted, you have to start decreasing on both sides. So when you go to start this side, for example, then you'll do the slip stitch. So instead of gaining any more stitches, okay, so 1, 2, and 3. So this is when it gets really a lot faster for you, is that you're just gonna carry along just like this, and then all you're just gonna do then is that you're going to then carry on and stop here and then just get smaller and smaller, and this will work itself into a point just like that. So this is how you do a comprehensive corner to corner GraphGAN work, and this is a great idea. And I would like to thank my friends over at Repeat Crafter Me Sarah, as well as C2C Graphs, in order to make everything work, and I'll provide them more information of those services available within today's video description. Have a great morning, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.